Amen. Numbers chapter 13, 30 through 14:1 makes it clear that the people of Israel had neither strength nor confidence in God when they came to the Jordan. Afraid of those who lived on the other side, they chose not to cross the river. In Numbers 14, 30 to 33, we learn the consequence of that decision. Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overcome it." Then the men who had gone up with him said, "We are not able to go up against this people, for they are stronger than we." So they brought to the Israelites an unfavorable report of the land that they had spied out, saying, "The land we have gone through as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are of great size. There we saw the Nephilim, the Anakites come from the Nephilim, and to ourselves we seemed like grasshoppers, and so we seemed to them." Then all the congregation raised a loud cry, and the people wept that night. "Not one of you shall come into the land in which I swore to settle you, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. But your little ones, who you said would become booty, I will bring in, and they shall know the land that you have despised. But as for you, your dead bodies shall fall in this wilderness, and your children shall be shepherds in the wilderness for 40 years, and shall suffer for your faithlessness, until the last of your dead bodies lies in the wilderness." Their fearfulness demonstrates the truth of Proverbs 24, verse 10. If you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength. This is the word of the Lord.
Please pray with me for a moment. Lord, we are living through a time of rough waters. We seek your wisdom and we seek your direction. We seek to listen in this time for your voice. For you are the one who leads us, who shelters us, who loves us. And we trust in you. Pray that the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts will be acceptable to you, our rock, our Redeemer. Amen. The stream that runs through the Frostburg campus doesn't have whitewater rapids, but it got me thinking about them. The times that there's a sudden change in the riverbed's elevation. The water runs pell-mell down the slope like a kid rushing recklessly down a flight of stairs. Water collides with rocks and rushes around them in a churning torrent of white water. Faced with rapids, people have basically 4 choices. Stop, go no farther, treat the rapids as a dead end. Pick everything up and portage around. Continuing the journey that way requires a lot of work and takes travelers well out of their way. Locks can ease people to a different level of water if there's one around and people have the time and patience to use them. Or people could take the wild ride, run the rapids, go downhill with the natural flow of the river. People pay to go whitewater rafting. Anyone can do it if they have a guide who knows the river well and can take them safely through the whitewater chaos. Professional whitewater racers with lightning-quick reflexes navigate kayaks through a preset course, like skiers in a slalom race, except here, the water's in control, not the athlete. Kayakers have to follow the water's flow, let it take the lead. The water knows the best way through. In daily living, chaotic changes can occur with a rush equal to that of whitewater rapids. Individually, in politics, civil rights, feminism, technology, current demonstrations, COVID-19, you name it. Note, I'm using rapids as a metaphor for rapid change, pun intended. I'm not implying that the world is on a downhill slope. The story of the Exodus can be used to show the way that real-life rapids can be faced. The Jordan is a quiet river, but for the Israelites, it might as well have been turbulent white water. When they reached the Jordan, it stopped them cold. The river, or the people on the other side of it, seemed like a dead end, blocking the way to Canaan. They were still adjusting to freedom after generations of slavery, becoming assertive fighters, willing to take on an intimidating challenge was too overwhelming to navigate, too rapid a change. Now, Caleb wanted to run the rapids. He was ready to let God take the lead, go with the flow, take the wild ride, cross the Jordan, accept the challenge, trust God to be their guide. He was ready, but most weren't. So everyone had to take a portage, the longest ever. Some eventually got to Canaan, but only by lugging all their stuff way out of the way on a 40-year portage through the wilderness. They didn't even think of a lock option. They could have settled on their side of the Jordan and taken whatever time they needed to build up their strength and confidence until it was on a level that would let them cross. But they didn't. See how the analogy works? We could apply those 4 choices to almost any issue in the world or in our lives. Take the pandemic. Normal living hit a dead-end stop. We seemed to face impassable waters for a while. The vaccine efforts, you could say, are the portage trails that are bypassing or seek to bypass the pandemic. People hoping to avoid the COVID chaos are counting on self-quarantine to function as a lock that will slowly carry them to a safer, more manageable level of pandemic. The bold ones, perhaps also the foolish, are choosing to run the rapids. Take their chances, charge through. Or we could take churches. Rapid cultural changes have brought church growth almost to a halt, to a dead end. Few have navigated those rapid changes successfully. More have sought ways to portage around them without much luck. Many churches seem to be confused about how locks work. They act as though they don't need a lock. No need for them to change anything. It's the rest of the world that must somehow get into a lock and be carried to the church's level. I'm not sure where we are. If Zoom worship was our lock that we used to get from one level of the pandemic to another, perhaps we left that lock before it was all the way to a new level, leaving us with some rapids still to run. Health-wise, maybe we thought the pandemic was going to be a smooth run for us. But now that one of our own is tested positive, we need to be careful. There may be rapids ahead for us. We need to think how we will proceed if there are. Sooner or later, we will be faced with rapids we need to run. If not now, sometime. If not the coronavirus, something else. Once in those rapids, we can't move the rocks. We can't control the water. The water knows the route to take. So to get through, we must let it take the lead and follow its path. If we don't have the skill to navigate the rapids ourselves, we will need a guide who knows the way and can take us safely through. If we falter in that time of trouble, how small is our strength? How small our trust in God? There's not much we can control in life. We'll forever be coming up against obstacles we can't move out of the way. If we want to run the rapids, we'll need to go with the flow of the Holy Spirit, who knows how to get around the rocks. We'll make it through if we follow her lead. You're one ahead of me on the slides. We need a guide. We don't have the skill to navigate all the rapid changes going on in our lives, our country, our church. Bill, hold that one right there for a second. But here's the good news of the gospel. We have a guide, and he will take us safely through. Now you can hit it. Going through the chaotic, turbulent rapids of change will be a wild ride. But with Jesus in the boat with us, the Spirit carrying us along, and God as our guide, we will make it through safely to shelter. Count on it. Amen.